All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 11 o'clock session on the 2020 Virtual Kentucky K12 Technical Summit. Hopefully, you have enjoyed the session so far this morning. We've had some great discussion so far, and so this session we have coaching our staff on data security and data privacy. We know it's a very energized and enthusiastic topic that everyone loves to hear about, um, and so. We've tried to make it as fun as we can here at Pikeville, and how we do our presentations each year. I believe James has some pretty fun options that they've been working on as well to share, that we can all incorporate. So we're excited to show you all those today. So as we continue our discussion, make sure that you jump in on the live chat. We've got Greta Casto watching that live chat. She's doing a fantastic job jumping in if you've got any questions. So make sure and put those over there. Also, if you have any questions or comments or memorable things you would like to tweet out, make sure you use the hashtag KYText today. And then at the very end, we will have our exit survey with the 1 hour ELA credit certificate that will be automatically emailed to you at the end. So we'll put that exit slip survey up as soon as the session is over today. So real quick, I just want to welcome James Allen here with me today as we discuss data security and data privacy and coaching our staff. And I believe, James, in this environment that we're in now, especially, this has become an even more pertinent topic. Would you say than even in the past, or at least it's highlighted more now?
I I think so. I mean, we're all kind of stuck on our screens, so I think there's probably some people using their computer way more than they ever have, just because we have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I know um, I saw a lot of on Twitter. You see a lot of across the state teachers, or even on the governor's press conferences, you'll see some pictures with teachers and their class on a Google Meet or something like that. And I see those, and I cringe a little bit on the inside, and it worries me a little bit because I instantly want to know, did all of those kids have a media release, and are their
Yeah,
pictures supposed to be shown, and are their names there? And so, like, my DTC heart starts to beat a little bit faster every time I see those on the press conference.
yeah. We didn't really have a lot of prep time for this crazy end of the year. It was just kind of like go, and
Yeah, exactly.
I think I think things went as well as they could have under the circumstances.
Yeah. So, as you all know, a few years ago, um, we kind of had some new laws that went through the Kentucky legislature on um, data privacy and data security, and it put kind of a re-emphasis on some things that we've had all along, but added some new things that we needed to look at and we needed to bring out to our teachers. And it also added the requirement that every year we discuss with our boards how we're addressing these issues. And so a few years ago, we actually we implemented a flipped opening day. And so I'm sharing my screen there. I believe you can see part of my screen. We implemented a flipped opening day here at Pikeville. And so those bloodborne pathogen talks and the drug screening talk and the administration code, harassment, all of those things that normally administrators, we would all stand in front of the auditorium with all of the faculty there, and we would go over these same spiels each year, and then we would have a sign off that yes, I was trained on that. I heard that information. So probably about 5 years ago, we actually flipped that, and we got. Let me let Miss Judy in. We actually flipped that in our district. That's about the time that we rolled out Schoology. That's our district-wide LMS that we use. And so on Schoology, we actually had each of the administrators responsible for those areas create a video that's their talk. And so then they could even use, extra visual aids and PowerPoints and slideshows and that sort of thing as well. They can go through their talk. And then we have a quiz after each one of those. And then after you pass the quiz, you get opened up to the next one. And then you make your way all the way down to you have the sign off sheet at the end. and all the other forms that we need to get out to people and let them know pay schedules and whatnot. But then there's the form that you actually print off that says, pursuant to KRS, whatever I've been trained on, pursuant to board policy I've been trained on, and they initial and they sign off each one of those things on that sheet. And so it steps them through these trainings. And so we actually have on here, we have two that we do from the technology department. We do the data breach and privacy discussion, as well as our acceptable use policy, and then we have a quiz for that. So on the data breach and privacy, I'll see if I can. We won't watch the video, but I'll pull up and you can see just kind of how we go through these. We try to add a little music and try and add some extra. Probably should have had that pulled up before. But we try to make it a little interesting with our AUP video.
Neil, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Are you sharing right now? I don't see your screen. If you're
Oh, I'm sorry. It is sharing on YouTube. I'm sorry.
Okay, I got
I
you.
forgot
Right.
I wasn't sharing on the Google Meet.
No worries.
Yeah, if I do it on the Google Meet right now, since I'm also streaming on YouTube, it creates that infinite loop of.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. I forgot. I'll show you later, James. I'm sorry.
All right. No, you're good.
Sorry about that. So anyway, we have the little video that plays, goes through, we add some music, and we do all that kind of stuff. And then we have our quiz at the end of that. And so what we actually used in Schoology, we redid the data privacy and security quiz in the assessments module. And so in the assessments module, we have some drag and drop questions and some other things that people can do. And so, like, we'll put in a phishing email that shows, how people can. We'll ask them to label the correct parts of that phishing email that you should look for. Like maybe the name and the email doesn't match, or maybe there's grammatical errors in the text. All those things that you look for in a phishing email. So we'll put those on there, and they actually have to place the labels in the correct spot. And so that's one of the things that we do as far as our assessment is concerned, and how we handle our training here at Pikeville anyway. And then and we do the same with our AUP. And with it, we use a little green screen magic, and we've got some things that go on in it. So we just try to make the presentations fun and a little bit interesting, because again, it's a fun topic, that data breach and privacy topic, right? So, James, I'll let you go ahead. What I know you had some things to share your screen there as well.
Yeah. Courtney Drossett, I think, took some of Bob Hackworth's information and kind of made 10. It's a short quiz. It's not anything too long. She made that quiz, and then I kind of took those questions and used a few different tools to kind of create the quiz that people can take. So some of these tools you probably know. I mean, Google Forms is pretty widely known out there. They have kind of increased their ability for you to make a quiz like straight from the start, where you can assign points to questions, and it's super easy to use. We're going to share these slides with you later on. So there's a link right here that goes straight to the form, and then this will let you make a copy of it if you want to make any changes to it. Quizzes is kind of a more education centered tool that's really similar to Kahoot. Kahoot is pretty simple though. Like, both have kind of free editions, and you can pay to have more features, but Kahoot basically lets you have a question with 4 options, so A, B, C, and D, and you can't really add on to those. You can also do true and false for free, I believe. And if you haven't done a Kahoot, it's kind of like those games they used to have in, like a Buffalo Wild Wings, where you get the little thing at your table and you type your name in, and there's just random quiz questions going up on the screen, and people answer, and you see like a leaderboard. Quizzes is similar. It's a little bit more. It's still fun. It's just a little more geared towards some serious questions, and to me, it's a little bit easier to work with. But if you're actually going to kind of model this for your teachers, Kahoot is probably easier for younger kids because there's like colors and shapes to kind of choose your answers. Quiz is a little bit more traditional looking. Genially is a relatively new tool. It's kind of hard to explain. It's kind of like they took a bunch of things they liked and put it in one tool. It could be considered a presentation tool, just like Google Slides or PowerPoint, but it could also be more interactive. I don't know if you've heard of ThingLink. It's kind of like where you take an image and you can put little links on the image that go out to different places.
Okay.
It has that feature. You can basically build like a mini website inside of it and publish it that way. This is just one example where I took a template they have for quizzes and then added these 10 questions in. They also have a free version and then you can pay, I can't remember the amount, but it's relatively reasonable price. But I like it because it's kind of like Google Slides, but it just kind of freshens things up a little bit, just some of the transitions and the interactivity with it and some of the things that are built in. I think what I want to do, I think we'll do the quiz in just a minute. Maybe we should do the quiz now.
We're gonna do a little pre-quiz.
Yeah. So this is quizzes. Here are the questions. It's kind of interesting. Quizzes where Kahoot, you start your game and everybody gets the link and you all start and you take it at the same time. Quizzes is a little more teacher classroom friendly. You can play it live, but you can also assign it as homework. And the link I have for you in here, this will give you it'll basically take you to the screen. If you don't have a Quizzes account, you can log in, but then you'll have a copy of this quiz that you can change the questions up and, share your games out however you want to do it. But I thought we could just get an idea of these. I'm not sure how recently added the feature, but we got Bob to record his voice asking these questions, which makes it super fun in his super radio voice. And you can upload MP3s for each question, which is kind of cool. I'm going to click play live, and then you have classic here, some team options. And then if you scroll down, there's even more options. So you can shuffle the questions. That's fine for this. I told it not to shuffle the answer options because when I have them labeled A, B, and C, and D, kind of gets a little weird. The rest of them I kind of left on. So I'm going to hit continue, and maybe we won't kill this, but we might. Awesome. So those of you out there watching can go joinmyquiz.com, and then there's the game code to enter. And then I'll wait for you all to jump in, and then I'll start the game. And we'll see what the leaderboard looks like.
So we're all going to joinmyquiz.com.
Yeah.
So I'm trying that on my phone right now. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to do it on my laptop right here.
Ooh, Rhonda's in first.
There you go, Rhonda. I tell you, Rhonda's on top of everything. She's on it today.
Greta was close second.
So 995660. And so while everybody's getting in there, we had a question in the chat a minute ago. I went ahead and answered it in the chat, but Connie Tackett from Pike County had asked if anyone was willing to share their data security and privacy quiz. And I said, absolutely. That's what you were showing right now. They have some awesome quiz options, and all of these are going to be available for you to copy and make your own. And I mean, how awesome is it that we also have the great Bob Hackworth's voice?
I know, right?
On all of these. I mean, that's fantastic. He's awesome, and I think that is so cool.
And I'm sharing these it probably took Bob longer to record it than it did for me to make a bunch of these quizzes. It just doesn't take very long. You can take some of these links and, you've probably had specific things that have gone on in your district that you might want to address in your own quiz. So I know I'm just thinking back to the schools I've been in. I feel like some certain topics would come up based on
looks like we've got quite a few people joining in.
Yeah, right now. I'm going to go ahead and hit. I guess I'm going to go ahead and hit start. Oh, one more popped up. Oh, another one popped up.
Yeah, everybody.
I feel bad. I don't know what happens if I hit start, and I don't know if you can still go in. I'm assuming you can, so I'm going to go ahead and click start.
Okay. We've got about 50 people viewing right now live on YouTube, so They're all
sweet. I'm gonna see if I can turn this music off. There we go. So on here, I'm assuming you all can see the leaderboard here. You get points for how fast you answer it. You get points for streaks in a row, like how many questions you get right.
Which of the following is a good example of a password?
Oh, I hear Bob's voice.
I was like,
That's
can you
cool.
hear Bob picking up over here? Yeah, I turned it up a little bit so y'all could hear Bob's voice.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
And one thing that's kind of cool about quizzes, like time quizzes are fun too, but some kids, they just work better when they don't have that clock counting down. So I like that this one doesn't necessarily penalize you for, it's gives you a little of both of those. So
it looks like we got.
And as a teacher, I can tell later on, it gives you some options to show which questions were, problem questions where more people answered incorrectly. Let's go to questions right here and look. Ooh, number 5, red. I'm assuming that's bad.
Number 5. Is that a problem? We need to have extra training on next year's video for that one.
And I have a feeling you're probably taking the quiz. You're seeing like some, I don't know, GIFs or pictures or all of that stuff is kind of randomly generated by quizzes. So I didn't have to do any of that work for that stuff to be fun. So yeah, we did this the other day with Marty and Laura and Jeff and Ben and everybody. And I didn't realize how competitive Marty Park might be.
Yeah.
He was trying to throw us off, talking the whole time.
That's my problem, because Bob is talking and you're talking and I can't concentrate.
Oh, I know. Marty said it.
Greta, sure, Greta.
Pac-Man and NS, they're up there. I don't
know who. They're not me. I can tell you that. I keep talking and listening over here too, and I'm like Greta. I admit it, Greta. I'm over here not paying attention.
So I'm guessing that's the number of streaks that you've had. So 10. NS is finished.
All right. Looks like Pac-Man's finished.
This is pretty fun. I like watching it go.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So after you all get done taking the quiz, I want you to put over in the live chat what you thought of the quiz and those questions. And hear everybody's feedback.
I feel like most people are not everybody's.
I dropped out, so
I'm going to go down here to question. Average time taken per question. That's interesting. So 14 correct. 17 seconds. Everybody's pretty quick.
When it did have the countdown on each question too. So there was a time limit on each question, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's your own independent time. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah. Each person was progressing through. Like Kahoot,
right.
You have to wait until everyone is and either advance it or wait till the time's up for everyone.
So, especially depending on what model we're in the fall, like quizzes could be a cool, time shifted gamification option.
Yeah, quizzes.
And there's lots of.
That was
go ahead.
I was going to say quizzes is one of the things that we heard several teachers using. During NTI, that was one of the fun ones. Nathan Seaton over here in the live chat said that was pretty fun. It's one of the best that he's seen so far. Rhonda Thompson loved the format. Jimmy Pack is enjoying it too. So we got a great crowd on the YouTube live chat today. While everybody's finishing it, go ahead.
End game. I'm going to hit end game there, and this should give us a.
Oh, here we go.
Who's responsible for the pens?
For the what?
For the little pen things that were in there. Who's responsible?
Oh, I'm assuming that's quizzes. I don't know.
Oh, well, see, I was okay. Never mind.
You were talking about like whose fault was that? And there was a fault line when I missed a question a minute ago. Is that what you're talking about, Greta?
Yeah, I wanted to know if that was quizzes or if that was James. I just wondered.
No, that was not me. No.
Okay, just check.
So this gives you some highlights. You can download results, like way more options than I've even explored. So it just depends on how much you want to do this. But even if you, I feel like if you use this tool just as a model, like even for this kind of boring, I don't want to say boring, this super important cybersecurity stuff.
Yeah, there you go.
It gives teachers kind of spurs some ideas that they might have that they could use in their classrooms. And
yeah, that was really our thing when we flipped opening day. It was the year that we adopted Schoology, and so our whole premise there from our instructional leaders at our central office, their whole premise there was, hey, let's really model how the teachers can use this LMS and all the features that we had in there. But this is a great way now to model and show all of these other options that teachers have. It's really cool to model that and see them jump
so
in.
this one is Kahoot, and you can see like on this true and false one, number 4, I had to upload an image with the entire question because there's just not enough room inside of Kahoot to type that entire question in there. But I didn't have that problem with quizzes. So it's just, there's workarounds. You can not upload, but you can choose YouTube videos to play for each question. So I could have, if I wanted to, taken Bob's voice and upload it to YouTube, and each question could have its own video of him talking. But then I'll show you, here's the Google form with those same questions. And I think I think I'll do this real quick just to show you all what it looks like. I'll go to new, more, Google Forms. And right up here, there's a little gear settings. I can choose quizzes and make this a quiz. And I've not done locked mode because I've not really worked with a bunch of Chromebooks, but that's an option. You can release the grade immediately after submission or after you review it. You have these options where they can see the missed questions or not. So that's kind of cool. And then inside of forms, it keeps getting better. I feel like, you obviously can go to customize the theme and choose your own image like I did. But then there's also, you can insert images inside of your Google form. I don't know if you've seen that before, or YouTube videos. Right. Like if you wanted to, kind of give them some preloading information, you could put it all there in one place so that it would be there for them to, watch and then take the quiz. This is Genially, the last one that I was going to show you. It looks probably kind of crazy over here, but you can insert images. They have some, and then you can also upload your own. Some of my incorrect answers are from Giphy, so I know some schools have that blocked, so those images won't show in the district if you have that blocked. But it's just kind of a thing to think about if the GIFs aren't working. But they have icons built in, shapes, so it's a lot like slides, a lot like PowerPoint. They have buttons already created, so if you're using this to build like a little mini website, those are already done. Got some graphs, charts. You can change the background. And then pages is kind of like where you would see your slides. And then over here, I think we've got your canvas size. So it can be all different kinds of shapes, transitions. And then navigation, you can make it standard, where it would be like a presentation back and forth. It can be a video, something that would just play. And I use this for digital signage in my last school. I would just use these slides and update them, and it would just constantly loop throughout the day. So, and then microsite is kind of like I was saying, a little mini website that you can create. And then when I present this, you should see. So this is what the quiz looks like. You click start. This is basically a presentation. So you could do the same thing in PowerPoint or slides. It's just not going to give you that fancy, score at the end or something that you could have on the back end in a report, but people could still. So I've got audio playing in the background.
I love it, Bob. Bob. I love it. That's so cool. I'm telling you, I so appreciate him recording that. I think that that adds such a great layer to this. That is fantastic.
I think
It's the best. So this little house will take you back to the beginning of the quiz. If we get one wrong, I've got a GIF that plays there.
That's great.
You click try again, it takes you back to that question. I'll do none of the above. So the next one, I think it's, let's do another wrong answer. Yeah. So another GIF. But you see how that works, kind of walks you through those same questions. So it's just a fun tool. Like I've seen other people use it for digital breakout rooms, because there's so many crazy like little transition things you can do, kind of like you were talking about, Neil, dragging the things around and labeling things. Like you could definitely do that inside of quizzes too. I mean, Genially too.
Right. Yeah. We were
Any
really
other questions while I've been going? Sorry, or
Yeah.
go ahead.
I was just going to say, we were really, that was another one of those things we wanted to show off what the LMS could do, because Schoology had just rolled out the assessments module where there's, interactive options where you can have kids label things on images and drag and drop things and sort items. And so it was more, of a full, trying to mimic the online assessment environment and what we thought that may look like. And so giving teachers a little view into that. Greta, do we have any other questions in the YouTube chat, or Rhonda over on Twitter?
So far, so good. It's just that people are very, very appreciative and like it. There's all positive comments, but no questions so far.
Same on Twitter.
We wanted to at least have something where you can just kind of walk away and you can use this without making any edits, obviously, and it'll be a good quiz for people to go through. And I am not a cybersecurity expert, and I had to think on a few of them. I mean, it's some of them are kind of surprising to you. You would think people would not make some of the choices they do, but they do anyway. I've got a lot of you have probably already seen this Be Internet Awesome from Google. Yeah. I have it pulled up. It is kind of gamified on its own, but it's really meant for, like, I don't know, 4th, 5th, 6th grade.
Right.
But the content that they have is really good. And I've even used it with high school. So they have the slides and all the information in here, like don't fall for fake. There's tons of good stuff in here that I feel like adults would benefit from going through. So I don't even know. I'm gonna try clicking this slide and just see if it opens up for me. Here's a preview. Can I make that bigger?
Yeah.
Oh, please. Maybe. Maybe not.
It won't let you click that square, will it?
I think you have to.
I got to make a copy of it. I'll make a copy of it. I'm not scared.
We got time. Let's make a copy. So yeah, that's utilizing Pear Deck.
Yeah, it has that built into it. Yeah.
Yeah, Pear Deck is super cool. Yeah. Do you have anybody using Pear Deck, Greta?
We do. I did a trial for the district, and I didn't feel like we had enough participation to pay for the whole thing. It was going to be cheaper for me to pay for the ones that were using it. Right. I would recommend that people do that, because if there's a line where it's better to pay for everybody, or so I would do some. If people are going to go for that, I would do some investigating and granularly find out what was going to be cheapest for you. But we absolutely have some that use the fire out of it.
Yeah.
So I'm just clicking through these. You can see that the content is good. It's not necessarily, too elementary. So it's got some good things on there.
I also think, James, if I can interrupt a
yeah,
second.
Go ahead.
I feel like this Be Internet Awesome was a great introduction for my people that had not seen Pear Deck before, because it killed two birds with one stone. It covered the stuff it needed to do, and then it also introduced Pear Deck. And so if you have done that with your staff, this would be a good way to kill two birds with one stone, and then maybe do a trial with Pear Deck and just monitor how many people participated and used it. And that way you could get all that information all at the same time.
Yeah. I just think I'm sure they spent tons of time and money on creating these questions and the content. I think it's really good. And I never used it with students, 100%. I would just pick out the parts that I thought I wanted to cover with the kids and use those parts. So I just wanted you all to know that was out there. It's free. You can use it. Speaking of two birds with one stone, in like the images that I used in the quizzes and the Genially and those things, you'll notice I say photo by Katzenberger on Unsplash. Unsplash is a website you can get some awesome free pictures, and they kind of have their own licensing system. It used to be Creative Commons 0, which means you don't have to give credit. You can just, it's people wanting to give their picture out, and you can use it however you want, edit it, add it to something you're doing. This is a similar kind of thing. So their license is, these pictures are out there, and they're mostly pretty high quality, good kind of artsy looking pictures. When you click on it and download it,
link called again? I'm sorry.
It's unsplash.com.
Okay, Unsplash, got it.
Because people are all the time looking for pictures that you don't have to worry about the copyright so much on. And I wish a Google image search was 100% foolproof that way, but it's really not.
Yeah.
Because if somebody shares a picture and they want to share it, that's good. But if somebody shares a picture and then somebody else takes that picture and shares it for them, that's not good. So I just like this site because the pictures are so good, and you already know what the license situation is. So if you hit download free, it will pop up with a little thing saying to say thanks. You can tweet that. Usually what I do is just copy this information right here and just put it on top of the image, where people can see where I got the image from.
Yeah.
And then another,
I was going to say, go ahead. That's similar. I know for a lot of the announcements for today's sessions, I use those icons from Noun Project.
Oh yeah, I was going to show you that one too.
Yeah, that's a really great one, Noun Project, and they have all the different icons that you can build in, and I just use the ones where you give credit, and download the PNG for it.
I like it so much. I've paid for the $20 education rate twice, so it's $20 a year. The way their model works, if you pay the $20 for the year, you don't have to give credit, so it becomes a Creative Commons 0 image.
Yeah.
So if you don't pay, then you just give the credit on the image. But it's cool to be able to use these. If you've not seen this before, I know this isn't really cybersecurity, sorry, but
it's definitely still in the wheelhouse of things that we need to get across, especially during this NTI age, as we're thinking about training on our AUPs and our privacy and our security and just all those things. Just good digital citizenship is an important topic
right now. This is the perfect place to teach it. I mean, I had to take my senior video that students made, and they wanted it to be on our virtual graduation. They wanted it to go out, and I'm like, guys, I'm not posting it. You're seriously going to copyright 700 Ways from Sunday, so go fix it, and I'll post it when you fix it.
So if you have a vinyl cutter or a Cricut or something like that, or a laser cutter, you can download these as SVGs and use it on those. You can choose the size of the PNG you want. You can choose what color you want the actual symbol to be and whether you want the background to be transparent or not. And so that's all done ahead of time before you download the image. What's really kind of cool is if you go to one artist, this is a terrible example, but let me go back and search. Here's security. So say I don't know, this image right here. If I click on that, I can go to this artist, or I can go to this collection. And then you can get icons, since it's all by the same artist, they all kind of have the same look and feel and weight. So I know sometimes people just go in here and grab random ones, and they may not really go together. But if you're trying to make something look kind of cohesive, it's good to use, kind of the same artwork from the same artist on here.
So one of the things, just to talk about we've got about 10 minutes left. Talking about the kind of the front loading for these quizzes, even for our staff. Does anybody else have out there, ways that you're providing that training? Because, for us, we do a video training, and then the quiz follows that. So that way they actually are getting, hey, these are what the policies are. These are things you should look for. These are good practices. We put all that in there. So just, if you guys on the call or you all in the chat, other ways that you're providing, kind of that content ahead of the quiz, anybody have any thoughts or comments on that?
I've never been the person responsible for providing that training, but I think it's good. That training is important, but I think it's also good to kind of break it up throughout the year. So in some of the technology tips I would send out as the librarian in the school, I would also, sometimes add, just screenshots of, like if you see something like this in an email, that's not good. Don't open it. Or, just little tiny tips that would just kind of keep it fresh in people's minds.
Well, I think that's a good point too, is you could even utilize these fun options as follow up throughout the year.
For sure.
You could say, coming back from Christmas break, obviously everyone's not doing their opening day, sign off on the dotted line PD sessions, but maybe we need a refresher after the holidays, or maybe we have an issue and maybe we just decide we need to have a little refresher because there's an issue. But these are a fun way to do that without everybody having to sit through the whole training again, probably. So I think that's pretty cool too.
Someone else.
No, go ahead.
Mentioned too. I'm sorry. Somebody had mentioned too, and I'm just going to say this in case somebody's not monitoring the chat, and somebody that's watching may be able to help with this. Connie Tackett at Pike County was wanting to see an updated version of an AUP earlier. So if anybody has done that recently, if you want to send her an email to the link to yours, that would be great. And Rhonda also mentioned for our Google fans that you can use that Unsplash add-on on
for sure,
the Google Slides, and that is super helpful.
Yeah. Noun Project has an add-on too for slides.
Yeah. Didn't know that.
Yeah, and you might not know this either. Adobe Spark, which is free, is an awesome platform for, it's similar to Canva, like online image editing, but they have licensed with Noun Project. So all of the Noun Project icons are in Adobe Spark.
Wow.
Nice.
That's
so
cool.
you kind of skip that step of having to go to Noun Project and deciding whether to pay for the license or not. Like Adobe's already paid them for you to be able to use the license inside of the Adobe software. So
yeah.
And it's I'll give this caveat. It's they say there's an icon for everything. They really mean that. So like if you type in adult things, it's not for little kids to use. You will get adult icons back in your search. I did try it out with Adobe Spark. I think they have kind of a filtered version that's going into Adobe Spark, and not all of those icons show up. Just wanted you all to know that. I think if you go to like their use policy, I think it says, I don't know if it's not the age 13 thing. It's a little more strict than that. It's like, this is not for kids to use. So I didn't want to give anybody the impression that this is like a site you can just hand out to your fifth graders to have fun with.
How we doing on the chat, Greta? Do we have any other questions or anything we need to address? We got about 5 minutes left.
Nope, we're doing great. People have just been very receptive. This is really, really cool. And if anybody else has some quizzes along these lines, or has something like this that they want to link to, people are hungry for that. So if you want to put a link to something that you have, if you're willing to share, go ahead and put that in the chat box, and people can use it if you're willing to share it. Thanks.
Yeah.
And I have my contact information on this slide. So if you ever have any questions, later on or whenever, feel free to contact me and I can help you out. Try to help you out.
Yeah. So, and after all of these presentations today, too, all of the sessions that we're in today, we will be posting the resources from the presenters on our website at ERATC.org/2020 Summit. So we'll have all the resources from all the sessions there today, and then over the next few weeks, We are also going to be breaking down the entire day into these 45-minute sessions, so there'll be individual videos on our YouTube channel. And so, what was that question there? Connie Tackett is asking, what was the link to the YouTube video with links? Oh, to add links to YouTube videos. Was that part of, is that,
I know,
it Genially, or how you say that?
That's Genially. I know in Kahoot you can add YouTube videos to each question. Is that what she means, maybe?
I'm not sure. Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what, we're actually at a good point with all of our sessions today. We are posting at the end. We are posting the link to jump into this Google Meet with us as we exit and go into the 15-minute break. So I will post that link here in just a second. If anybody wants to jump in, you've got further questions, Connie, if you want to join us and join us in here, I'll post that link right now.
Yeah, she's saying the one with "don't fall for fail."
Oh, don't fall for fake. That's the Be Internet Awesome, I think.
Yeah, that probably is. And Be Internet Awesome, you can just Google that and it will come up.
Yeah, Be Internet Awesome is Google's education platform that they've got for that. It's pretty cool stuff that you can go through. Do anybody else have anything while I post this?
I appreciate you all having me today. It was fun making those quizzes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool with Bob Hackworth's voice. So again, if he's watching today, we really appreciate him taking the time to record that. I know, like you said, that was probably quite a bit of work to go through those, and we really appreciate that, and appreciate you guys making those quizzes. And that's just really cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump out on YouTube. I'll post that link here in just a second. Make sure that you do hit the exit survey for today's session. I'll put that link up on the screen.